The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
I'm CJ.
And we have a special guest.
Commissioner Dan Robillard.
Charter Commissioner Daniel Robillard.
Danny, you are the only negative...
Wait a minute. Well, I object to that negative. That is not negative. He voted, you know, he voted the way he felt he should, and so therefore that's not a negative.
That's the dissenting opinion.
It's a dissenting opinion.
Yes.
Exactly. And an opinion that, by the way,
we subscribe to.
We share. So, welcome, Dan.
Thanks, Chip.
Long time no see.
And I hope all you people have this at home. And if you do, I hope you've looked through it very clearly, because we're going to talk.
Read it very carefully.
We're going to be talking about that today. We're going a little off the beaten path, and we're going to where we need to go to.
Well, in a lot of ways, CJ, I think that this is the most important question that's going to be decided tomorrow, because if this charter passes, and I really hope it doesn't, because I think it's a terrible document for so many reasons, but it'll outlast a number of mayors, I believe. So.
Well, that's, you know, Danny, I know that, I mean, just some highlights of why I don't believe in this charter. I don't believe in the fact that the city council, 7 city councils, can remove a mayor. I think that supersedes the rights of the voters.
Positively.
Okay. And my review of the initiative petition process, because they included the recall in that process, it does not have an exclusion for the recall for the corporate council to overturn that initiative process.
Yeah, and we've seen that before, but I actually think the Corporation Council's authority is even stronger.
Exactly. It's way too hard.
The mayor's powers.
Yeah, and the mayor serves on every single board and commission. And according to Augie Venice and Commissioner Mayoza, you know, well, the citizens have input. The citizens have input now. The only thing that this charter does is guarantee input.
Well, yeah.
But again, if I go into executive session on a board, guess what? They don't have it. And I know there's only 10 reasons they can go into executive session. But we know what citizens input does. Everyone closes their ears and they don't hear us.
But look, we're going to do this like basically one item at a time, because we're going over this whole.
I just wanted to get the highlights in.
Litany to highlight, and we're going to go over the highlights one by one, because there are a whole bunch of them. But let me first say something about this illusion that's attempted to be that the citizens have input. The citizens don't have input. The selected citizens have input. And at the end, we'll wrap up by going over how the review of the charter completely eliminates the people from the process by who they appointed. But, you know, they say that the citizens have input. But the citizens that they're talking about are people that they pick. So is that truly representative of what our Constitution in the state of Massachusetts clearly states? It states that all elected officials and magistrates are at all times agents of the people and answerable to the people, not to the selected people, not the people they pick from their campaign finance report or from their campaign team, or from friendly neighborhood associations. All the people, just as all the people got to vote for the charter commissioners. Okay, this is the whole process. The process is we elect people who then deferred their power to somebody else that we didn't elect, which bothers me, and everyone voted for that except Commissioner Robillard. So this document to me flies in the face of the entire United States government, the concept of democracy, the concept of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. This is a government of the politician, by the politician, and for the politician. So let's get down to it. What's the, first of all, at least, I don't know if you have something of the first and foremost thing of this is, we'll go by the way the charter introduces it, I guess, the increase in the number of signatures for people to run for public office. Now, you know, I know that one commissioner said it was to vet people, and I've said more than once that, in my opinion, it's the people who vet the candidates by voting them in or out. And I think that this government was created for all people to participate. We want more people to be involved in government. As a matter of fact, if anything, they should have reduced the number of signatures to run for office. I think that if you want to run for office, you just stick your name in and sign it, and you should be able to run. Because I don't have the time to go out and get 300 signatures, more signatures to run for mayor than it takes to run for state office, or 150 signatures, a 300% increase or a 600% increase. That is counterproductive to citizen involvement in government. So they're going to say this is a good thing? I don't know how anybody could do that, but so that's mine. So let's weigh in. Come on.
Well, it's very simple. I'm going to say what I said during the debate on the elections article. I believe ballot access should be a breeze. The real work of a campaign starts when you start formulating and articulating your positions before voters. And they're the ones that ultimately decide. Ballot access should be a breeze. It's funny, I made a motion to have no changes. That was defeated. And I voted against the two motions to increase the signatures, and the people on the other side said I should have supported a slight increase, blaming me, basically, for the signatures going up because I didn't vote for the minor increase, so-called. I didn't want to vote for any increase because I didn't think it was worthy and flies in the face of democracy. But my real problem is I don't believe this is the process the voters voted for when they voted for a charter review. This wasn't a charter review. We wrote a whole new charter. And that's my first issue with it.
And I think one of the other problems with this is that people don't understand that everything that currently exists in Fall River, the current charter, every single thing that exists within that charter is gone if this passes.
Except the boilerplate.
Except the boilerplate's gone because now we've got the new boilerplate.
Yeah, but it's and there are some similarities.
Right, there are some similar parts, but the bigger thing is that there are things that are referred to in the charter all the time that aren't there. For instance, you know, a petition shall have the city seal, but nowhere in the proposed charter is the city seal designated. Does that mean every year that we get a new mayor, we can change the city seal?
Well, you know, you're right, CJ, but that brings us back to maybe, you know, I jumped the gun here. I wanted to get into elements in the charter, but I think that's an extremely valid point that you know, Dan brought up. We should have started with the fact that this isn't what we voted for.
That's right.
We voted for a revision and an update of the charter.
And Michael,
I voted for this revision.
So did I.
I did not vote for the Charter Commission to go out and hire an outside consultant to completely rewrite it. And I believe I'm quoting closely, maybe I'm paraphrasing.
I would say paraphrasing.
But they said they were working with a blank document. Am I correct, Commissioner Robillard?
I believe so. I actually recall the terminology, a blank slate. And
blank slate.
It was on December 21st, 2015.
And he said, and I'm going to quote him because it was brought up that he was supposed to review it. He said, I don't have the time.
Correct.
To review each item in the current charter. Well, that's what we voted for. That's what we voted for. We didn't vote for you to decimate the old charter. And Mike Mayoza and Chris Bartley went around trying to get people to sign this by saying we're only going to change a couple of things so that we can pass it, so that we can review it, you know, in the future and make more significant changes. Instead, he bastardized the whole thing, destroyed it, and he committed charter abortion.
That's quite an analogy, but you know, the other thing, I think it's extremely important that we look at exactly what was said. As you said, when he said he didn't have time to review the charter. So that doesn't make any sense. If you're going to review a document and update it, as opposed to writing an entire new document that's going to control the government of a city, that really, it should take more time. But it doesn't take more time when you basically take sections from everybody else's charter in the state and use stuff that the state's got and basically give us a conglomerate of everybody else's charter. I don't want Chickappee's charter or Newton's charter. You know, this was our charter, Fall River's charter. I wanted this charter that we had, that served us all these years, to be revised and reviewed. That's what I voted for. And as far as I'm concerned, from my personal perspective, this entire action became illegal because that's not what we voted on. We voted for a revision, not a complete change in our charter, a completely new charter. And shame on those commissioners.
There are 8 commissioners which abdicated their responsibility.
Who abdicated their vote. And not only did they abdicate their vote, they came up with a charter that eliminated our ability to elect new members to a commission so we could say, hey, we don't agree with you, like what we're doing now. And that's going to be at the end, but I'm jumping the gun. But the fact is, this new charter takes it out of the hands of the people. We will never again get the Tulloh Charter Commission that we elected, and they did their job, and I'm not going to, you know, okay, they were elected. But then I have the right to tell an elected official, I don't agree with what you did. I elected you to do this, and there was only one commissioner I agreed with, and he's sitting right alongside of me here, and because he represented the people. And he represented the people's interest.
That's right.
And I have the right now to go to the ballot box and tell them, you know, you can stick this charter where the sun doesn't shine because this is not what I wanted. But never again, if we elect this charter, will we have that ability. Because the Charter Commission will be made up of politicians and political appointees. Yeah. And that's the reality. So this whole thing is a mess.
Sure is. I could see it coming right from the beginning. You know, right from the second meeting, it was clear that there was a desire to bring in an outside consultant, and in my opinion, that is when the entire process changed. I would have preferred to see the 9 of us break into subcommittees, review it by section, have the subcommittees make recommendations to the full Charter Commission and vote the changes that way, and then maybe hire our own attorney or the Corporation Counsel to put it in legal form. That's the way it should have been done. That's a charter review. That's not what we got. The taxpayers got shafted, and the charter should be rejected just on that basis, as well as all the other provisions those of us that oppose this have tried to outline.
It's tough. It really is. It's amazing, you know, and it makes it difficult for people to understand. Not everything happens the way people want it to happen, and that's always the issue.
And the people should provide it. So we've got, number one, we've all cited our objections that it should be easier, in our opinion.
That's right.
And that to run for office. So now the next major next issue we had was what, Dan, in your
Oh, to me, I think the mayor sitting on every board and commission is a major expansion and increase of executive power. Even though that mayor will not be a voting member of the board, he or she doesn't need to be. They're already the appointing authority on the overwhelming majority of boards and commissions. Now they're going to have access to all the meeting material, and all they got to do is go down the line, and just a scare tactic.
Exactly, it's intimidation.
It's a power play for more. Number one, he gets to appoint most board members, and secondly, he gets to sit on the board to just intimidate them even further. Like, hey, Big Brother's watching you. I'm here tonight, and you know this whole thing. You know, we've heard people.
Now, before you go any further, Mike Maioza, John Sylvia, and Chris Bartley are saying, well, right now the mayor can approach any board or commission and speak. Yes, he has to notify them that he wants to speak to them, and then he comes at their invitation.
That's right.
Okay?
By invitation.
By invitation. Okay. He can address any one of the boards, commissions, the city council that he wants. He has to let them know, and then he is invited to speak to them.
Look,
he doesn't show up like our current mayor has done several times and start taking on the thing. And and the city council's made it clear that they've had to waive the rules for him to do that.
Yeah. Well, look. We all know they're making up some weak, feeble excuse to justify everything they did. It doesn't change the fact that they've changed the landscape of how governments run. You have the government making its own rules, which is dangerous in the first place. The fact is that, look, we all know that people have been complaining in this community for years about we have too strong a mayor. And this charter makes the mayor stronger, makes the politicians stronger, it makes the city council stronger. What this charter makes weaker are the people's ability to affect their government. Look closely, read in this
Hey, Chippy.
article, you can read the minority report from Commissioner Robillard, and it hits a lot of areas here that are really, really important. But I think that the most important thing, and I'll read the closing. In closing, I wish to thank the voters of Fall River who have the competence to entrust me with the honor of representing them. I think the Charter Commission for their efforts. I may not agree with their position. I respect their commitment, and I feel that the charter is not in the best interest of the citizens of Fall River, and I will oppose its adoption. Every vote I took, the people of Fall River's interest was my compass. I believe in the words of our nation's Declaration of Independence, quote, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the government, unquote. This charter changes and removes the people's ability, as it does flying in the face of our state constitution, which says they are all times answerable to us. I do not believe that this, all we have to do is look at recall provisions, and now basically the Corporation Council has the ability to just throw it in the barrel.
Yep.
So another knife in the, in the et tu brute, another knife, in the back of the voter.
And we went through that during one recall process where corporate counsel turned around and said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And we could.
Yeah.
Because we did it the exact same way the second time, and that was all perfectly legal, and there was no way corporate counsel could stop us. So that's
right.
where I have a problem.
Sure.
I have a serious problem.
Well, I have a problem when the people can't speak, CJ.
Exactly.
I mean, and let's, and we've got 10 minutes, but let's get to I want to make sure we get this in. And this is the thing that really disturbs me. Now, remember, we all went to the ballot box, and we approved a charter revision, and we didn't get it. But we went to the ballot box, and we elected people. And do I agree with the 8 people who were elected? No, I agree with Commissioner Robillard. I believe that his vote and his assessment is correct. I support the fact, and by the way, I have to put this in. I don't know who spent $40,000 on the no position, but it wasn't us.
No, and
I heard that rumor was thrown out there that
and that rumor was started by Commissioner John Sylvia.
Yeah, we haven't spent 40 cents on this. What we're doing is using what every citizen should have, our right to speak out.
That's right.
Our right to get there and speak in front of the city council, to speak on our show, to speak out in public, and to say we do not agree with this and articulate why.
But my problem is that Commissioner Sylvia is doing what many other commissioners are doing. They're spreading rumors and lies to get this thing to pass. If this thing is so wonderful, if this booklet is so perfect, why do they have to fight to get it to pass? Yeah. It should pass on its own. Absolutely. But even the mayor of the city of Fall River is voting no on this charter. Even the mayor, Mayor Jazel F. Correa II, said he's voting no on this charter. He doesn't believe in it. So that tells you something, because we don't agree with him a lot. But here's something we do.
I'll tell you, CJ, I think that's critical.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Dan.
And I agree too. Like I said, look, for all you guys to say we never agree with the mayor, hey, we agree with the mayor.
Yeah.
I agree. When we agree, we agree. I think he's 100% right. But let me read from section 9-6, periodic review of the charter. Now let's remember how we reviewed this charter. First, they had to.
You mean how we killed this? How we killed the old charter?
Yeah, how we tried to assassinate the old charter. We put it on the ballot, and we put it on the ballot to revise, which they didn't do. But we elected people, and now we have a chance again to say we disagree with what they came up with. Now listen to what the new charter does to your rights. Remember, we elected Commissioner Robillard and the other 8 commissioners. This is it, section 9-6, periodic review of the charter. Not later than July 1, at 10-year intervals, in each year ending in 7, the mayor, not the people of Fall River, the mayor and the city council shall provide for a review to be made of the city charter. This review shall be made by a special committee, not the people, special committee, to consist of 7 members, all of whom shall be voters in the city. The city council president shall appoint 4 members, not the people of Fall River. We don't vote. The special committee, very special committee of people who are hand-selected. So the city council president shall appoint 4 members, 2 of whom shall be councilors. So number 1, we got city councilors appointing their friends, and 2 of them will be them. So, okay, where's the voice of the people here? You got politicians making their own rules. That's, to me, very, very dangerous. And 2 of whom shall be residents, but shall not be selected or appointed officers of the city. The mayor shall make 2 appointments. Oh, wow. Now the mayor, another politician, appointing some of his buddies. So that's 6 people out of 7. Okay, 7 people, 6 of whom are elected by the city council and the mayor. And the school committee vice chair shall make 1 appointment. So everybody that's making an appointment for every further review of the charter will be a politician.
Politicians writing their own rules.
That's it. Politicians making their own rules. Have you ever seen a politician appoint somebody that wasn't a political ally?
A political hooker.
Let's get real. Now we continue. The special committee shall file its report with the city clerk not later than August 1st in the year following year in which the committee is appointed. The recommendations of the special committee shall appear on the city council's agenda, not our agenda, the people's agenda, for action before August 15th in such year. And if not so scheduled by the city clerk, come before the city council for its action at its meeting next held following August 15th. And no other business shall be in order until a report has been acted on by roll call vote. Copies of any recommendations shall be made available to the public and shall be made available upon request at no cost to exceed the actual cost of reproduction. Where, I ask you, are the people represented in this process? Never. Political appointees create a 7-member commission, and the city council makes its determination, not the people of Fall River. We will never again get the vote on what they do. That is an outrage. These commissioners who voted for this charter just on the basis of this position should be taken to task, because there is no consideration for the voter.
And did you notice?
That is a violation of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Where are these people?
Did
The
you notice?
mayor, the city council, and the vice chair of the school committee.
There are no people.
Where are they answerable to us in this process? They pick them, they make the changes, and the city council approves the changes.
And if you want to know what those changes are, I'm going to read the last line of section 9-5. Shall be provided upon request at a cost not to exceed the actual cost of the reproduction. So if you want to find out, you got to pay for it.
That's right. I mean, if that doesn't say,
That
say
screams
it all.
fascism.
Okay, that's it. I'll tell you what. It's bad enough that Congress lives by their own rules.
And so does the House and the
government.
Senate in Massachusetts.
And so does the Senate in Massachusetts. Now, they've succeeded in attempting to make the city
The same way.
the same way. They're going to make their own rules.
Hey, gentlemen, how about this? How about even on the citizens' participation section, for a free petition, you got to go out and get 100 signatures.
I know.
Why? Right now, you can go to the city council, public input, have somebody file a resolution, get your matter heard before a committee with no signatures.
Exactly.
How is this helping?
Engaging the people. It's not. It's not. And the worst part about it is, if you want to start an initiative petition currently, all you got to do is collect the signatures. You don't have to present it to corporate counsel or to anyone else first. You collect the signatures, then present it to the city council, and then they have 60 days to put it on the ballot if you've reached the 15% mark, okay? Or it appears on the next municipal ballot. But under this provision, it's got to go to corporate counsel, who then says yes or no, and then you got to go back out and get more signatures and come back. It's ridiculous.
You know, CJ, for almost every provision where there's a citizen participation process, there's a percentage involved here.
Exactly.
Yet, hypothetically, if this charter was to pass by one vote, it's the law of the land.
Exactly.
I don't understand it. It's absolutely ludicrous. The whole thing should be rejected. You've got the increase in signatures. You've got a lottery for ballot position. You've got city council members and school committee members going to be reimbursed for ordinary expenses over and above their paid salary already.
Oh, but we're taking away their benefits, so, you know, I mean...
Well, let me clarify that. Their benefits are only taken away if they lose and they come back. In other words, if they go in already with health insurance, they're allowed to keep it.
Well, let's put it this way. This document is clear. You brought up a very good point, but the thing is, this shows how this document is, this is one of the worst attacks on democracy I have ever seen.
I agree.
Because everything that gives the citizen any ability to attempt to make have any kind of voice, they've made anywhere from difficult to impossible with the changes. And in other areas, such as the review of the charter and the review of ordinances, they've completely eliminated the ability of the people to even have a voice. And they went one step further and said, if you want to know what we're doing, you got to pay. So this charter should be used for
toilet paper.
It's a little too rough for that. Let's birdcage bottom liners.
And we're also taking the right of citizens away to run by determining who can run, because if you're a city employee, you don't have any right to run.
Exactly.
And you should be. And if it's a conflict of interest on what you vote on, It's up to the voters to determine whether they want you in that position.
Exactly.
Not the city charter. Every American has a right to run for office, and that's the way it should be. And if you're a city employee, you should be able to run for office.
Hey, thanks for watching, people, and remember, vote no on the charter.
Vote this charter down, keep the power
That's
with
right.
the people.
Stay angry.
You be the iceberg. Let that charter be the Titanic.
We could have done 3 hours on this thing.